So, it snowed in Texas. Texas was not prepared. As most of you know, I live north of Dallas, so we really got hit by this winter storm. We knew, if you're unfamiliar with what kind of happened, I'll briefly go over it. Texas, we're used to the heat. We're not really used to this level of sustained cold. Yes, sometimes it snows in Texas, sometimes it gets cold, but it doesn't get this cold for this long, and that's really where our problem was. We're not set up for this. And so while some people are laughing like, wow, we get way colder than that in Canada or in the north, yeah, but we're not set up for this. We were caught with our pants down. No one wanted to see that. So what happened? We were warned and we knew this was coming for a week. So a lot of people, in some cases, I'm kind of frustrated that people didn't take more precautions. I think that more should have been done because a lot of people are like, we didn't know it was coming. How did you not know it was coming? I knew a week before. Like, we all knew it was coming. We didn't know, however, it was going to be this bad. So, you've got, what is it? The truth is usually somewhere in the middle. You have the extremes on both ends. This is going to be me rambling a lot, probably. I'm exhausted, just fair warning here. I am so tired. So my brain not functioning. I'm on my second cup of coffee. My eye's twitching again, isn't it? It's been that kind of a week. We had on Sunday, the snow started, the cold hit last Wednesday. So we knew this was coming, we knew to prepare, and we did. I had started bringing in all of my plants, like I had bought a bunch of new plants for the landscaping out in the backyard in front of my studio. They've been in the garage. So we knew that this was coming, we knew to take precautions. I don't have enough, and it's funny to me that that was even a concern, because later on I was like, yeah, that was the least of my worries. I don't have a lot of the fabric coverings that you could put over plants to help protect them. So I just brought everything into the garage. So if it was in a pot, it is now in the garage. I only have a few things outdoors that I think might not pull through, but nothing major that I'm like super attached to. So no big deal. Well, maybe the crepe myrtles, but I think they'll be okay. So anyway, the outdoor thing, we knew that was happening. We got covers for the front of our outdoor faucets. So in Texas, some homes may have this, but most that I know of don't. We don't have a separate shutoff for our outdoor, like the faucets to the hose from the house, which I always thought was stupid because it's like, but it does freeze here enough that I would worry about that, but whatever, we don't. And sometimes that's usually the first pipe that I know of for people, like even in my neighborhood where one burst, it would be that one. We don't know how much damage has been done yet to people's homes, so we'll see as things start to defrost. But we did put the covers on the outside, and we got enough food to get us through, so we didn't have to go out or anything. Spent Saturday pulling more plants from outside in. It's been a whole thing to prep for this. We were told initially that you could expect rolling blackouts, and those would last about 15 minutes, and it would hit every 2 to 3 hours. So I wasn't super concerned because it's like, even if it goes off for that amount of time, my fish tank, which is always the biggest concern for me when you lose power, that my reef tank, the battery backup, it'll keep it going. Like in those off times, and it'll recharge on the on time. So no big deal. Everything will be fine there. Not super worried about it. Just in case, I do have a power generator because I like to have a backup for my backup plan. And I'm a firm believer, if you have a reef tank, you should have a generator. It cost me like $270. And throughout this, and I'll come back to that story, that is what saved my tank. That is why my tank is still alive, is I am a paranoid person. And I know we wouldn't have expected the snow like this, but we do know that we have lightning strikes. I lived in a house that got hit by lightning and lost the power for a while. We have tornadoes. We have bad weather here regularly enough that we do have power outages. Not from this was different. This was more sustained than anything I've seen, but it's definitely like if you have, and I don't care where in the world you live, have a power generator, have a backup plan if you've got a reef tank, because I've lost a full tank before. I was out of town once when we lost power when I lived in California. I had a 65-gallon reef tank and I lost everything because the power went out while I wasn't home. So, this situation, I wouldn't have been able to do anything in it then because I wasn't home. But anyway, I know what it's like to lose it, and so I'm super paranoid about that. And it was one of the reasons I almost didn't get back into reef keeping again. I'm going somewhere with this story, but worrying about the tank, and that's the main reason I'm so exhausted. For us, we were lucky in how the rolling blackouts worked. We didn't lose sustained power like a lot of people did. Our blackouts, when it started, they would be off it started on Monday morning at 2 a.m. Sunday night for us. So before I had gone to bed, we started losing. It would be off for half an hour, other way around. Off for an hour on for like a half an hour. And so it did that, but it was just here or there. But I went to bed thinking, oh, no big deal. My battery backup, that'll cover it. And it's not, we weren't supposed to have it on off like long term. So I didn't worry too much about it. When I got up on Monday morning, the tank was it had drained almost completely. I had like an hour left to get everything sorted. It wasn't recharging. And that battery backup I actually have to return because it has a good warranty, so that's good, but it definitely is not holding things up. So my neighbor helped me. He actually ran down to the grocery store. He found some oil for me because I didn't have the right kind of oil. I had the generator, so even I wasn't fully prepared. I didn't think I was going to need it. I mean, not yet. I had that generator for spring storms, not a winter storm. So anyway, he set me up with the oil, and we got the cable running from, it's out in the backyard, and it runs in through my fish tank. My eye won't stop itching. I probably should edit that out, but I'm exhausted and I don't think I'm editing most of this out. I think you guys just get the whole thing. So, of me rambling. So, anyway, we got the tank set up. I did not realize how loud a power generator was. Oh my gosh, it has been making me insane. But at the same time, like I'm torn between, it makes me insane, but it's saving my fish, and I love my clownfish. So they're all good throughout this. They have lived because of that power generator. So we started losing power on, like I said, Monday morning, and it lasted until 10 o'clock last night. Wednesday night is when it came on, and it's been on ever since. We're now on Thursday during the day at noon. So it's been on for more than 12 hours straight, which is kind of a big deal for what it's been. We were told initially also store water in your bathtub, drip your pipes, so we knew to do that. But then we started losing water. The water started going out, and so it's like, well, you can't really drip a pipe. So we don't know what damage we still don't know once everything defrosts. Nothing indoors, none of our pipes have frozen. We're good there. Water comes on when power comes back on. We'll start getting water again, and then right about the time that we get water to where it's like getting good pressure, and then the power cuts and then the water goes out. So that's kind of been the ongoing thing. Now for us in my area, we've been cycling to where Monday, I think most of Monday we would have like a half an hour of power and then an hour off. And that was enough to keep my house warm. So my house, it is a newer house, and it has really good insulation. We were so thankful like that. We were never physically uncomfortable. A lot of people dealt with horrible cold because either the power went out for too long, or a lot of these homes, just older homes, they just don't have the same insulation as the newer ones. And so I felt so bad for people. So luckily, I mean, everyone has been pulled together and having people come over where it's warmer, if you need somewhere to go type thing. And so there were options out there for people. There were warming centers people, they put up. So there were alternatives, but it's been hard for everybody. So we had, I would say, the least of it. My main concern was the fish. That was the only thing I had to really worry about. Everything else could get through. So Monday, like I said, we were about a half hour off, hour on, other way around. Half hour on, hour off was about average for most of Monday. Sometimes we'd be out without power for 2 hours. Sometimes it varied. So every time power came on, we could go rush and make food. Like if we needed to heat something up in the microwave, I'd make coffee really quick. Oh, coffee. What did I just hear? Please don't be breaking pipes somewhere. Some of our neighbors had leaking roofs through all this, so I'm like all paranoid looking around. I heard something weird. I think it probably was a frog hopping around. But anyway, so moving on, by Tuesday, I think we were maybe it was Tuesday. I don't know. It started getting to where we would have more power time on. So by Wednesday, we were up to an hour on, hour off, and it would cycle through pretty consistently. Now you would think, hey, that's awesome, because then I could get some work done on the hours on. I was too busy messing with the generator. By the time, like I'd go turn the generator off to try to save gas, because that turned into an issue. Turn the generator off, go unplug the tank, plug it back into the wall, and then I have to warm the generator back up. It was a whole thing. So it's just been, my time has been fussing over the tank and worrying about that tank these whole few days. If it weren't for the tank, it would have almost been relaxing in our case. Like the heat came on often enough to keep our house warm. We were never really cold. I mean, we'd put a blanket on that we normally wouldn't walk around with a blanket around our shoulders. But it wasn't really a concern for us. We were so much luckier than some of the people here in Texas. What some people are going through right now is terrible. So as inconvenient as all of this was, we were so lucky. My frogs, as far as like the rest of the animals, frogs ideally like to be in the temperatures of like 70 to 75 degrees, right around there. Obviously, we're not keeping the house that warm. So they were in the high 80s, or not high 80s. no one's been in the high 80s here, the high 60s, which isn't ideal, but it's okay. It's not like a danger level or anything like that. They were okay with like that for a bit. I wrapped their tanks in quilts to keep some of the heat in, and they did fine. They're glad, you know, the dart frogs are super glad to have lights on again so they can hunt in the daytime. And they were, even in here in my studio is light enough, I was able to open the sun would warm up the room enough that it was safe to open the blinds, because normally you would want to keep the heat in, but it was warming it up enough in here that they were able to see and eat and everything. So that worked out well. My red-eyed tree frogs, they're fine. They're in the night. They're nocturnal anyway, so they don't care if they don't have lights. And they were perfectly fine, no problems there. Their tank got down to, I think in that room, it was like 69, 68. Again, not ideal. It'd be better if it was warmer, but that's not a danger level at all. They were fine. For my greyhounds, as of Sunday, the first day that it snowed, they were like, this is terrible. This is the end of the world. By Sunday night, Wade realized snow was really fun to romp around in, and both the dogs are actually enjoying the snow. They might be over it by now, but for a few days there, as long as the generator wasn't on, they loved that. Speaking of the generator is one of the reasons, like I originally, when this happened, I didn't think I'd need to run the generator. And also I had no idea how loud those things are. Oh my gosh, they're noisy. So it sounded like there was a lawnmower in my living room. The generator's outside, but it was so loud, and I don't like loud noise. So that made it that made it challenging, because even to sit down like, okay, well, I've got some time, I'll sit down and read a book, which I love doing, not in that environment, not where I'm worrying about the fish. And I over worried about the fish. The fish are fine, but it was it's been an adventure of noise. And if you seriously, the noise of the generator was like a torture for me. If you ever need to get information out of me, just turn on a generator next to me. I will crack instantly and tell you anything you need to know. But that thing was just, it was loud. Hear the dart frog? They've been chirping like crazy today. Actually, even when they were covered, they were still chirping though, so they're just talkers. So my indoor plants haven't been super happy. It's been so dry in here, and I didn't realize how extreme it was until one of my Aglaonemas, some of the leaves were dying on it, and I went to pull them off and the whole thing kind of fell over like there are no roots. I've had that thing for years in the same, on the fridge. Well, it's been on this fridge for a year, but I mean, it's been happy. Everything's been good, and I water it maybe every other week. Like, it doesn't get a lot of water, and because it doesn't get a lot of light. But yeah, no, it got too dry. So I'm probably gonna have to replace that. I have a little palm that's like a tiny little one. He's really angry about the dryness. So he's right now underneath my humidifier. Now that power has been on since, what did I say it was? Power's been on since like 10 p.m. last night. It's been on consistently. So I've got the humidifier going again, and that seems to be keeping the plants in here. The studio plants are doing much better. I'm a little bit worried about that fiddle leaf fig though. He's kind of droopy, but I also don't want to root. That's going to be the challenge. I don't want to overwater, because you will rot the roots and you'll kill it that way. But it's also so dry in here. I'm having a hard time balancing, like, who needs water when right now. It's a little bit harder than usual to judge that. We're not used to dryness like this. So hopefully the humidifier will keep everyone happy enough. So as of right now, what's going on is we currently have power. We've had that power going on for 14, 15 hours straight, which is like huge for us. The water is going to be the next challenge, seeing how all of the pipes made it through, the irrigation system, like we just aren't going to know yet. And we have we're supposed to be conserving water, but we also are supposed to be dripping the pipes. I don't even know. There's so much conflicting information out there. The water right now, we're on a boil water order because the water levels, I guess, something about how if it gets to where the pressure's too low, it's not that they've tested and it had like bad results on the water come back, but just knowing that the water pressure is low, the water can start to get stagnant, and that can become an issue. So we're supposed to boil water. It's all a challenge right now, and water kind of comes and goes, whether or not we even have water. So yeah, that's our next thing that we're going through right now, which is almost, in some ways, it's harder than losing power because we still had power sometimes, but at least the tank right now is plugged into the wall, and that seems to be doing better. And then going back to the tank, I'm all over on this video. I apologize, seriously, I'm so tired. But my brain is not functioning in a linear manner, worse than normal. So the tank, one of the problems that we were having, which was a problem for a lot of people. So some people had generators and they still lost their tank. So it wasn't a guarantee that things were going to go well, because the generator can fail or anything can fail. But with us, the problem ended up being getting gas. Matt was having to go out, my husband was going out once a day trying to hunt for gas. Yesterday, he was gone 3 hours trying to find gas. He finally did find somewhere. So it was getting to the point where even people with generators, it wasn't even a guarantee that your animals were going to be okay. So that was where a lot of the stress was, of sitting there for 3 hours freaking out about like, oh my God, is he safe out on these roads? I mean, it's snow. It's semi-icy, but it's overall okay as long as you don't drive like an idiot. I wouldn't want him going out now that stuff's starting to melt, because it's melting, but then it freezes again. And so things getting icy, that would concern me. But he went and bought some extra gas cans yesterday, because he's like, we don't want him out as stuff starts to melt. But it looks like we're okay as far as that goes. But a lot of people, they couldn't even get gas for their generators. Like, they started out with a good amount thinking it was going to be enough, but we didn't know it was going to last as long as this has. We were told, they expected power outages to be Monday, Tuesday. It ended up being all the way through Wednesday. And yeah, and it started earlier than we thought. So for the other challenge too, some people, if they completely lost power, their home was getting so cold that the fish tank, the aquariums, the heaters, even being in a generator, it wasn't keeping it hot enough. So some people, one guy, his was pretty cool. He was heating up water bottles in addition to that. He was all bundled up for himself and taking care of that tank. So as much as I love reef tanks, it reminds me of why I originally was like, I'm out. Well, we moved, and so it wasn't practical to bring stuff with me, but it was like at the time, but I was like, I just don't, the stressing out when you lose power sucks. Because like I said, it wouldn't have, in our case, we would not have been very stressed. It wouldn't have been a big deal for us at all, other than worrying about the pipes, if it weren't for worrying about the tank. Normally though, none of this is a problem. I mean, in most cases, if you have a generator, you're safe. It was just this being as I keep looking out there. There are a bunch of birds. So I've probably been recording this video not paying attention that I've been watching the birds outside. So you'll forgive me for looking like a weirdo staring off not looking at the camera. We've got so many birds that we normally don't, because they're all so hungry. So they're just like, oh, this house has food, let's all go here. So it's been fun. I'm doing it now. I'm still staring outside. It has been fun looking at the birds. And yeah, that is, I guess, the end of this. I've rambled long enough. I will have to keep you updated on what's going on as far as videos go. All of that, like, I didn't get any work done on my giraffe that I'm currently, a surreal giraffe. I'm super excited about this piece in colored pencil, but I didn't get anything done on him. I've accomplished nothing, and I don't even know if I'm going to be back for sure next week, because we'll have to see what the pipe and water situation is. But I just need to get caught up on stuff. I need to get everything back to normal. All the plants moved back outside. Like, so much has to be done to get everything back where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to try, if the power's on tonight, my plan is to work on getting the artwork done. So I'm hoping I'll still have Patreon's video done next week. We didn't have one this week because of everything. I'm hoping to have that, stop looking at the sky chickens, Lisa. Pay attention to the camera. But I'm hoping to have the Patreon video for you guys this week. I don't know if I will. It's just, these are our circumstances out of my control. So we'll try to get that done, and I'm hoping to be back to videos and live streams next week. But honestly, with how things are looking and how everything is, like, everything just is extra. Everything takes longer. Trying to wash dishes, because everything has to be boiled. Like, everything is just, it's a lot of work right now. So the weather is warming up here this weekend. I think Saturday is the first day will really be, like, for the full day above freezing, I think. And then all next week's like 50s and 60s. So we're moving into spring for us here, but we've got to get through this initial, like, we're on that last stretch, and please, pipes, don't be frozen. So yep, that is the plan here. And the really bad thing about this, normally if somebody has frozen pipes, it's, a few houses here and there. It's going to be so much. Even getting a plumber is going to be an issue coming up here. So that's why I really don't know what to expect moving forward. I will try to keep you guys updated. That was the other thing. We lost internet. I couldn't even stay online, like on my phone. The 4G wasn't working. So I don't know if it was that the cell towers are down. People had different theories on that. Speaking of, we're going to wrap this up with my neighborhood drama. Oh my God, most of the people, I would say, have been, like, watching how people handle this, have been amazing, helping people out, just wanting, asking if anyone needs anything. This person's going to the store. Does anyone need me to pick them up? Like, it's been really cool to see that side of things. The thing that surprised me were how many people were just nasty and bitter and angry. Like, you heard what our schedule was. We were lucky with our outages. You had, one of the things that really got me were the people complaining. So some areas, they would never lose power because they were on the same grid as, like, a hospital or somewhere that can't lose power. So there were areas that would never, I guess those people were just lucky. And I don't know why you would hate them for that. Like, it was weird. So somebody was posting in my neighborhood group today, and a bunch of people were on this and so angry that this whole neighborhood, it didn't go out, and it's because it's a rich neighborhood and this and that. And I'm like, it's next to a hospital. Somebody did call that out. They're like, it's next to a hospital. But people were so angry that somebody else had more than them. And what really annoyed me with that one was we didn't lose that much. We were inconvenienced for sure. This did suck. Like, without a doubt, this has sucked. But we've had enough heat. We're not freezing. We didn't have what some people had. Some people lost all their power. Some people, like I was saying with the fish tank, some people, even if they had a generator, it wasn't going to be enough because of how extreme this was. So watching these people get so nasty that somebody had more than them, and you're just going, wow, that is your mentality. You're something. Then again, one of these is the same lady who flips out thinking people are trespassing when they use her driveway to pull in and back up to turn around on her street. So, you know, some of the people out here aren't wrapped real tight, but yeah, it's Now, one of the other ones that was really funny, there were people, I'm guessing, and from the neighborhood group post that it makes sense, most people, I mean, there's nothing to do, they're sitting at home. Ooh, lots of sky chickens just flew under that tree. Gosh, I cannot remember to look at the camera. Anyway, a bunch of people, they're drinking because, you know, what else are you going to do? I'm not judging you. But they probably should stay off Facebook when they do that. One woman had the most, like, this rant of how screw her fake friends and something about someone. It sounded like someone had a get together and didn't invite her. And so she flipped the heck out, like, oh my gosh, publicly, and all the other neighbors, because no one actually, like, it's a big neighborhood. There are thousands of people who live out here. Like, that many people don't know who you are. So it was like, whoa, talk about airing some dirty laundry. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, it's been interesting watching how everyone handles this. And I would say for the most part, people have been really good and been there for each other and trying to help each other out. And then you have those who are just angry, bitter, jealous people. I'm like, we have had it so easy compared to most. So to see somebody angry that somebody else had it even better, it's like, well, then are you mad too that California didn't lose any power this weekend? Because they were good. I mean, they will over the summer. I know. I went through those rolling blackouts. But it's like, it's been interesting. I'm exhausted. I think everyone's exhausted. I'm looking forward to this being over. I ordered myself a new waterfall for the patio because I'm like, this is going to be my reward for getting through this. And I have that to look forward to for the spring. I'll show you guys when I eventually set the patio up, which all has to be washed too. All the sky chickens have been like, they've been taking shelter on my patio, and I'm not going to scare them away because you guys do what you need to do. But there's sky chicken poop all over. It all has to be washed. So yeah, one more thing I have to do once everything warms up is clean sky chicken poop. Have you subscribed yet? If not, I have a handy button right there. It's round, has an orange arrow going towards it. That'll help you to keep up to date with all of my new videos every single week. Also click on the bell notification icon because YouTube doesn't notify people very much, so that will help out. Normally my videos are more to do with art, but I can't art. So it's kind of to do with art, because I'm letting you guys know why there are no videos this week and possibly next week. Although I guess this counts as a video, but it's not an art video. Whatever. I'll see you guys later.